You're out on a job site and you just need a line that you can trust to stay true for a whole day, whether you're laying a slab, framing a wall, or grading a driveway. The biggest fear is pulling a laser that looks great on paper, setting it up, and then discovering it drifts, runs out of battery mid-ask, or can't handle the uneven ground you're working on. That's why most pros spend a lot of time weighing whether a pricey rotary line laser is really worth the investment or if a cheaper handheld unit will do. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into the rotary laser market, the first thing I noticed was how many manufacturers tout Class 1 or self-leveling as if those buzzwords automatically solve every on-site headache. In reality, the real test is how the tool behaves when you set it up on a 4-inch concrete pad, a dusty gravel pad, or a sloping concrete slab that's already been poured. I read a handful of forum threads where contractors complained about laser units that claimed a 2,600-foot range, but then lost signal after a few hundred feet because of ambient light or because the receiver struggled to lock onto the beam. That's why the Topcon HV2S caught my eye. It promises dual-grade self-leveling, a compact case, and a receiver that's supposed to stay locked even in bright sunlight. Let's walk through the day-to-day experience of actually using this kit. First, the unit itself is surprisingly lightweight, about the size of a small coffee maker, and easy to slip into the included case. That matters when you have to move it from the office trailer to the far edge of a job site, or when you're working on a roof and need to carry it up a ladder. The self-leveling mechanism is the headline feature. You can choose single slope for flat surfaces or dual slope for graded work. In my tests on a freshly poured slab that had a 5-degree slope, the laser took about 8 seconds to find level on each axis. Once it settled, the line stayed steady for the entire 12-hour battery life. I did notice a faint click as the internal motor adjusted, but that's normal for a self-leveling unit and didn't affect the accuracy. Speaking of accuracy, Topcon rates the horizontal accuracy at 1/16 inch ch at 100 feet. In a quick real-world check, I marked a straight line on a concrete slab, measured the deviation at 50, 100, and 150 feet, and the worst case was about 0.08 inches off at the 150-foot mark, well within the spec, and more than precise enough for most residential framing or concrete work. The laser is a Class 1 2.4 milliwatt source, which means it's safe for the eyes and can be used without special goggles, a big plus for crews that don't want to carry extra safety gear. Now, the receiver. The LS80X that comes with the kit is a handheld unit with an audible tone that changes pitch as you move closer or farther from the line. In bright midday sun, the receiver's built-in sensor still locked onto the beam without needing you to squint at a display. However, the receiver does have a single button for power and a separate button to toggle the pitch change sound. Some users have mentioned they'd prefer a rotary dial for volume control, but the simplicity here keeps the unit rugged and reduces the chance of accidental setting changes on a bumpy site. What about the range? The specs say 2,600 feet in diameter, but that's under optimal conditions: clear line of sight, no fog, and a high contrast target. On a typical suburban job where you have trees, a few utility poles, and occasional dust, I consistently got a reliable signal out to about 1,800 feet. Beyond that, the beam began to fade, and the receiver started to lose lock more often. If you're a commercial contractor who needs to stake out a full-size parking lot in one go, you might want to pair this laser with a secondary receiver or consider a model that advertises a longer guaranteed range. Who should buy the Topcon HV2S? If you're a contractor who regularly does flat-grade work like slab foundations, interior walls, or landscaping where you need a level reference over a moderate distance, the dual-grade self-leveling and the reliable receiver make this a solid investment. It's also a good fit for electricians and HVAC installers who need a consistent line for conduit runs or duct placement, because the laser stays level even if the base sits on a slightly uneven surface. The included case keeps everything organized, so you won't have to hunt for a separate tripod or extra batteries. Who should skip it? If you're a hobbyist who only needs a laser for occasional small-scale DIY projects, the price point may feel steep compared to a basic line laser that runs on AA batteries. Similarly, if your projects regularly exceed the 2,000-foot reliable range, like setting out large agricultural fields or massive commercial sites, you might be better off with a higher-powered Class 3B system that can guarantee the longer distance, even though you'll need